We start off with the Ghana Revenue Authority, which has descended heavily on telecom firm Glo Ghana and internet provider Surfline for non-payment of taxes. The Debt Management and Tax Compliance Enforcement Unit of the GRA spared Glo Ghana, which managed to pay 2 million cedis out of the 10 million cedis owed, but sealed off the head office of Surfline, which owes 36 million cedis. Charles Aite was with the tax force in our reports.
Joy Business crew, together with some selected media personnel, was left at the forecourt of the Glo Ghana office for hours as management of the company were locked up in a crucial meeting. Glo officials resolved to defray 2 million cedis of the overall debt. Bobby Ensa is the public relations officer of the GRA.
We came with a debt outstanding of 10 million cedis, but they are giving us 2 million, and we have instructed them, or we have discussed with them, to go to the office so that they can make further arrangements. So this is we have 3 checks, one for 1 million, another one for 500,000, and another one for 500,000. So out of the 10, we have 2. So we are not locking the place.
So far, workers have gone home initially when they were asked to do so, following the intended decision to shut down the entire company. The situation was quite different at the head office of Surfline Ghana. With a total tax default of 36 million cedis, management of the internet provider was unable to settle the 1/3 of the debt as required by the GRA. A seal-off was the only option. PR of the GRA explained in detail the debt profile of the company.
We have come here, that is Surfline Communications Limited, and they have a debt of 37.3 million from 2015 up to 2018. Unfortunately, as you can see, we've been here. They did not make any payment. For that matter, we have locked or sealed off the place as the law requires.
So far, the question that remains is whether or not this development could affect workflow and as well the service provision that this company offers to thousands, if not millions, of customers across the country. Meanwhile, both companies have until 10 days to pay off the entire debt. For Joy Business, Charles Aite reporting.
Very interesting developments there. We are not closing down another bank soon. That's the assurance coming from the Bank of Ghana. It follows reports that 2 troubled banks could be closed down as a result of some serious liquidity issues. The regulator has, however, said it may not rule out any action in future when it becomes necessary. Let's listen to advisor to the governor, Dr. Benjamin Amwa, who is asking the public not to panic over reports of banks collapsing.
No, if you need,
about local banks?
If you need money, go to your bank and withdraw money. If you have cash positive balances there, that is the essence of making account. And a friend used to say that the reason why we grow our nails is so we can scratch when we itch. You have money in the bank, you need money, you go and withdraw some. But there is no need to go there because you are afraid. That is the one. What is what we will call panic withdrawal. Everybody is panicking and going to withdraw everything. No bank can meet that. But do your normal business and rest assured that as and when you go there, the banks can meet your needs.
So the sector is safe and so there's no need to be worried about that one.
As we speak today, yes.
Advisor to the Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Benjamin Amwa. Joining me in studio is Joy Business researcher Philip Namfuri. At least we have assurance that no bank is going down soon, but the Bank of Ghana is still saying it would not rule out any action if it becomes necessary. So we are not out of the woods entirely yet, Philip.
No, it seems we are not, but the regulator is putting in the necessary work to try and bolster confidence in the banking sector. And I must say that the banking sector thrives on trust and confidence. It's not necessarily that your deposit is sitting in your bank. It's the fact that you have the trust and you are confident in your banker that when you go for your money tomorrow morning, you would get it. So yes, they have put in a number of measures, a number of interventions just to ensure that the sector is on the right footing. Beyond that, we've seen other areas in the other financial services sectors. We've seen insurance, we've heard that they want to increase minimum capital requirements, we've seen Securities and Exchange Commission. So as a whole, the financial services sector is always interrelated. But from the banking perspective, yes, we can say that they are putting the necessary work to try and more or less clean up the sector.
It's been a very difficult year for the banks, needless to say. Tell me a bit more about how the banking crisis has affected other services connected to banks.
Okay, Daryl, so I'll give you this one example. If we have an internet service provider, an ISP, who was providing services for some of these banks that went down, if the new bank, that's Consolidated Bank, decides not to take them on, that's a chunk of their business gone. If we had a company that's providing bullion services, when we see them moving their monies up and down in these pickups that are covered, if Consolidated Bank decides to cut a number of branches down, which we've heard they're going to do or they've done already, then it's going to cut out some revenue that's going to go to these companies already. Let me take it down to even the simpler part. If there's a branch that has a number of workers around it, let's say a watches seller, a fruit seller, and this branch is closed, this watches seller, this fruit seller is no longer going to get business. And in an interview I had with Dr. Sedo some time ago, he alluded to this point. So it's not just the banks going under and fear of deposits being lost. It spreads to so many other areas.
So it's not just about the banks going down, it's about everybody, because one or the other, someone is affected by the crisis that we're seeing at this point. And we are talking about this because of a conversation that is coming up later this week. That is the Joy Business Financial Services Forum. I'll leave you to tell us more about it, Philip.
Okay, so our forum is based on the theme, the changing tide of Ghana's financial services sector. The cause, the cost of it, and then the cleanup. Now, I want to focus on the cleanup today because that's the part that we're all interested in.
Yeah.
We've seen the causes, we've seen the cost. How do we get our financial services sector back on the right footing? I always say when it happened in the United States, with the Enron scandal, somewhere at the turn of the year 2000, we saw them bringing in an act called the Sarbanes-Oxley Act to bolster corporate governance in the sector. When the 2008 crisis happened, they passed the Dodd-Frank Act. President Trump came, he rolled back some portions of this act because he felt like it was slowing down bank growth in the country. But going forward, our system needs to be cleaned up properly. And we have to ensure that we don't come back to this situation where somebody wakes up in the morning, he hears this has gone down. Challenges will occur in the sector, no doubt. But it's the management and then the widespread nature of it that we need to contain going forward. So the cleanup is critically important.
All right. Thanks very much indeed, Philip Namfori, telling us about the Joy Business Financial Services Forum, which comes on this Thursday. You want to join us for the conversation. In the meantime, take a look at this.
The Bank of Ghana will close the door for banks to meet the minimum capital requirement in December. On November 1 at the Golden Tulip Hotel, Accra, we bring you a conversation on the topic, the changing tide of Ghana's financial services sector, the cause, the cost, and the cleanup. With some upheavals in the banking sector which have sent shockwaves throughout the industry, the ripple effects are widespread, from banking and insurance to pensions, savings and loans, service providers, customers, and the economy. Join us to discuss recent happenings in the financial services sector as we also examine interventions by regulators to ensure strong, sustainable growth of the financial system. You can join the conversation by tuning into your superstation, Joy 99.7 FM, or watch it live via the Joy 99.7 FM and Joy Business Facebook pages. If you tweet, you can participate by using the hashtag Joy Finance Forum. Joy Business, empowering, prospering together. Joy FM, your thought leader.
And we have just about 2 days more to the event. You're watching Business Live. We want to move on now. And Drivers Paddy, software that connects commercial drivers with their service providers, including insurance companies, has been picked to benefit from the $5,000 seed capital from capital support from the Tony Elumelu Foundation. Founder of the platform, Paddy Asari, spoke with my colleague Eben Sabote at the just ended Tony Elumelu Foundation Entrepreneurship Forum in Lagos, Nigeria. There's more in this report.
Over 5,000 young African entrepreneurs who are trained and mentored by the Tony Elumelu Foundation, Africa's leading entrepreneurship-focused organization, are to receive $5,000 each to aid in their business. This year, 48 Ghanaians have been selected to receive funds after evaluation by the foundation in Nigeria. Founder of Drivers Party, the common platform that connects drivers and service providers to do business without much problems, has been explaining how helpful the fund will be to his business. He's also a beneficiary of the Tony Elumelu Foundation.
When a driver gets involved with the police and we think we have to take them on, we get a lawyer for them on a pro bono basis, then we take them on. We want to clear corruption out of Africa, and especially corruption on the road.
Amazing, amazing. So this fund that is coming to you, $5,000 as seed capital, what are you expected to use it for?
I'm going to use it to expand my marketing side, the marketing side of what I do.
But how sustainable is it?
It's quite sustainable because we're going to be agents for almost everything the driver needs. When I say consumables, things that wears out quickly with the driver, like car tires, car batteries, even to an extent of providing them insurance and credit.
Some other selected entrepreneurs have also been expressing their joy for benefiting from the foundation's funding.
Really overjoyed because I think it's really exciting to be part of a program with so many entrepreneurs from across the continent.
How do you hope to use this fund that is going to be given to you?
Okay, so my company, Arco Books, produces digital audiobooks that people can listen to conveniently while they're working, commuting, exercising, or whatever. So I'll be using part of my funds to produce some more of our audiobooks.
And $5,000 for my business, which is Global Works, for instance, is actually taking care of part of this technology or the technology infrastructure, which is developing the mobile app. It's a good start, is an accelerator, but we actually need more to develop some of our businesses.
Some of these feelings you can't really explain. I remember when I was applying to Tony Elumelu, I finished 11:58 because I was not really sure if I should apply it or not, if I was going to get it.
Chief Executive of the Tony Elumelu Foundation, Pamida Vir-Obe, tasked the entrepreneurs to utilize the funds to ensure sustainability of their businesses.
They have a very good idea of what it is they're going to use that $5,000. Some people don't use the $5,000 immediately. They will keep it and they will continue to build and find paying customers for their products and services. But the advice to all the entrepreneurs is do not waste this $5,000 because you can multiply this $5,000 tenfold if you're really serious about running your business. Yeah. After that, they graduate and they become part of an alumni network, and that alumni network is now a peer-to-peer network. Yeah.
The event offers a unique opportunity to generate ideas, forge networks, and bring policymakers and the private sector together.
All right, you're watching Business Live. After this short break, we are airbound to Toulouse, France for the latest on an aviation conference underway. Welcome back to Business Live. Tonight, industry players in the aviation sector across Africa are currently gathered in Toulouse, France to launch a white paper on the continent's air transport sector. Currently, about 27 African countries have signed on to the single African air transport market, but lack of commitment from member states has affected the implementation process. We'll bring you the latest from Toulouse, hopefully, when my colleague Sandra Fenu joins us. But in studio with me is Sheila Tamaklo, who has been covering the aviation space. She joins me in the studio. And Sheila, for the benefit of our viewers, tell us a bit more about this single Africa air transport market that is subject for discussion at that conference there in Toulouse.
Okay, so the single African air transport market is an initiative by the African Union to open up Africa's skies. When we say open up, it means that they're going to lift all forms of restrictions between the various African countries. Hence, airlines can fly between the various African countries without any restrictions. You know, you have to go through processes, ask for permission before you're able to go into other jurisdictions. But this time with this system, you can fly without any limitation on the frequencies, the times, the capacity, the number of passengers that goes into the countries. Yeah.
Interesting stuff, but unfortunately there appears to be some problems already with the implementation. We're hearing about the lack of commitment from African countries. I don't know if we can establish contact with my colleague Sandra Afenu, who is there in Toulouse for us. If you can hear me, Sandra, what are stakeholders there saying about the treaty? All right, unfortunately we don't have Sandra, but I mean, before this we knew that there have been challenges with this, and maybe Sheila, you can highlight some of the challenges with the treaty as we know it by now.
Okay, so the Single African Air Transport Market is a follow-up to the 1999 Yamoussoukro Declaration. Now, the Yamoussoukro Declaration also sought to create the liberalized air system, but then, you know, the implementation has suffered some setbacks because most of these African countries are afraid of competition. They feel that if you open up the skies, their major airlines may not be able to compete effectively with the foreign airlines that are coming because they are much bigger. But on the other hand, you know, research shows that if we're able to liberalize the air for just 12 African countries, we're going to see about 150,000 jobs being created and 1.3 billion cedis being added to the GDP of the African continent. And we're going to see extra passengers that were not flying previously flying. And
you had a conversation with Raphael Kuchi about this. Raphael Kuchi is he's the
vice president for the International Air Transport Association.
All right, can we listen to bits of what Raphael Kuchi has had to say about the implementation of this treaty and why there are some challenges currently?
Well, the single African air transport market is one of the best things that has happened to Africa yet. And it is going to really see African aviation grow much more faster. It's going to lead to the African continent being more integrated. We're likely to see a growth in intra-Africa trade and an increase in cross-border business across the continent. Now, this is something that is a follow-up to the Yamoussoukro decision of 1999. And as you know, Yamoussoukro decision, which is almost 20 years old, was not truly effectively implemented. But there were a number of reasons why it was not effectively implemented, chief among which was the fact that many states feared at the time that their national carriers will be competed out of business if they were to open up their markets to other African operators. But today we are seeing that even though they never open up their markets, where are most of the national carriers? Where is Ghana Airways? Where is Nigeria Airways? Okay, where is what do you call it? Zambia Airways. You know, many of the national carriers, which were big, Air Afrique, which was a giant in this region, they all disappeared, even though the market was never opened up. The undoing of Africa is actually closing up the market on ourselves. Ghana has no big regional or intercontinental airline, but Ghana is growing its traffic significantly year on year. It is because of Ghana's policy of opening up its market and encouraging operators all over to operate into Ghana.
All right, so Vice President of IATA, Raphael Kuchi there, highlighting essentially some of the benefits of this single air transport system. And Sheila, where else is this kind of a system being implemented and how beneficial has it been to them?
Okay, so we know that this system actually exists in the European Union. They have been having this for about 2 decades now. And what we realize is research shows that about 90% of passengers within this area are able to fly with cheap tickets because the flights are direct. Unlike Ghana here, or let's say Africa, you need to move from one African country to the other, yet you're making stops in the Middle East and Europe to get here, so it makes the tickets more expensive. And also because there are more flight frequencies, there's competition. When there's increased demand, definitely the prices will also go down. So if we should do the same thing here, we're going to see that there's going to be more, frequencies, more airlines, and then prices are going to go down, and there's going to be improved intra-Africa trade as well.
Okay, that conference is going to see the launch of a white paper. I'm going to try one more time to see if we can connect with my colleague Sandra Afenu, who is covering the conference for us. Sandy, if you can hear me, we are expecting the launch of a white paper. Tell us about this white paper.
Carol, good evening to you. Basically, what we've been doing here is about this white paper, obviously, and experts have been saying that Africa is growing largely. And if you talk about the population in terms of people living in Africa, about 16% of the world's population is from Africa. But when it comes to the aviation sector, we only contribute 3% to the global market space, which is not too good. And so this white paper is actually to discuss means and ways that Africa can use to improve on its aviation sector. Issues with taxes on aviation products like aviation oil. We also have ticketing, the taxes that are on it. A lot of the experts have been saying that setback to the aviation industry in Africa. And so if we want to move forward, definitely we have to look at issues with taxes when it comes to aviation products.
Okay.
And also, yes, Darryl?
Yes. We have just 30 seconds to spare on this.
Right. So basically, those are some of the issues that we've been talking about. And so it's just to discuss means and ways that Africa can take about in terms of health, also agriculture. The issue of drones came up largely when it comes to air transport. So how do we as Africans take advantage? And the commitment from governments as well is key. So at the end of the event tomorrow, definitely they'll come up with a white paper to discuss means and ways to leverage the sector.
Hopefully tomorrow we will see you in Toulouse, France. We're just missing you a little bit here in Accra. Thanks for being with us tonight. Sandra Afenu, all the way from Toulouse, France. That'll be it for Business Live tonight. There's more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks, Sheila. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Darryl.